So you needed to increase the speed in which you can bring in the data to make AI like ready. Your existing infrastructure will not allow you to do that. So when I say that when you have to look at holistically, I'm not suggesting that you need to bring every single data from your organization, bring them to a common consolidated place. That's an EDW approach. I mean, that's an approach may not be like needed here. I'm talking from platform perspective, which is like the cloud nature platform. Bring the elasticity part of it. So when you look at it, you're a small department who has done a project and then maybe piloted an AI program and then successful. In order for you to industrialize, you need a platform who takes care of right from data ingestions up to the AI itself. That's a good question. I think data ops is certainly a new terminology, which is in practice right now, right? Let me walk you what happens without the data ops. So most of the organizations, apart from the traditional dashboards and reports, they ask for data. So they say that you give me this data and don't worry about what I do with it, right? I kind of analyze it, and those kinds of data requests comes very frequently. So what happens is that when the customer requested for those data, what typically an IT people will do is conduct a project. Okay, these are the collecting the requirements. They do a design development kind of a thing. It's a project work. What, in my view, that's counterproductive. So they have to find a result immediately. For example, like a few years before, there was an oil spill, in the ocean, and they want to find out what are the exposure because of the oil spill, and that's a question they need to answer within 2 days or like probably one day. You can do a project for that, right? And data ops avoids that. And for in order to be a person, to do a data ops, your data has to be cataloged and other stuff, right? The IT ops is where the typical IT operation is kind of a run and BAU kind of a job, right? Now, there's not much of involvement from a business point of view, right? You just said like a job has to run, it has to end, and kind of like a run book. Data ops runs differently, and my suggestion is that data ops has to sit between both business and IT. So the best practice of IT is followed, but still it is run by the business. Of course. So, in my view, there are four pillars in terms of to be a successful in the data journey, right? Number one is the platform itself. I would call it platform of intelligence. The platform of intelligence have to be scalable. The elasticity has to be there. So that's number one. The second is the governance space. Governance, don't look at it as a policing part of it, because policing, that's the old definition of governance, where okay, who will access the data and like not access the data. Governance means the same way that you make the data consumable for the consumers. So that's why. And then there are two types of governance. One is the data governance. That means it kind of manages the data part of it. And second one is the AI governance, which manages the AI part of it, which is basically the ethics part of the AI. How do you do AI? Who should use UI? Then you look at the third part, which is the people skills part. You should be skilled enough to do this one, because unfortunately, the one of the stumbling block in implementing any AI program is the skill set, and both internally and the externally. Last but not the least is the business engagement. Again, most of the data and AI programs are for consumers. It's not like SAP or an ERP implementations, right? It is for consumption purpose. So that's where the data ops, drives the thing. You cannot have a project based approach to deliver a data thing here, a program here. That's where the data ops comes in. That's where the business engagement comes into the thing. So I would say both data ops and ML ops will fast track it. I wouldn't say it doesn't matter. It's preferable to do that way, but I think that you don't have to really do things in sequence in this generation. And that's my view. on this one, right? Now, again, the party data or call as any customer data is crucial for your success. You need to have an MDM. That's why the foundation of data includes the MDM part, but it need not be a kind of finish to start kind of dependency. I need to finish MDM before I start data and AI. It kind of need not be there. Again, when it comes to AI ML, right, we are looking at directional data. That means that directionally this is how it's going. Maybe not a very accurate 100% accurate data. It's not a transactional data per se. Yeah, I would still say that your MDM strategy has to be in place and it has to be in the implementation plan. Don't wait for that program to complete to start your AI program. As long as you have data enough in the source systems and you can like bring those data, it's still fine for me. But don't forget about the MDM. You still have to implement that part, but you don't have to wait for that to be complete.